Emmerdale's Graham Foster has delivered a stunning confession to Rhona Goskirk, sparking intense debate among fans about what could unfold next. Graham, once the trusted guardian of Joe Tate, astonished the village by reappearing 6 years after he was believed to have died. His unexpected comeback has deeply unsettled Rhona, who once imagined leaving the village to begin a new life with him. During his absence from the Dales, Rhona married Marlon Dingle and rebuilt her world with their blended family, grieving the man she thought she had lost forever. Now back in the village, Graham has resumed life at home farm, much to the annoyance of his former partner, Kim Tate, who is clearly far from pleased about his dramatic survival. In Thursday's episode, February 19th, Graham arrived unannounced at Smithy Cottage, claiming he was simply returning Leo's football after finding it in the street. Yet it soon became evident that he had another motive, as he confessed that his love for Rhona has never faded. Rhona was left stunned, firmly telling him it was wrong and unfair to voice such feelings when she is committed to Marlon. However, she noticeably avoided stating that she no longer has feelings for Graham. Graham reminded her of the life they once planned together and made it clear that he cares deeply for her son Leo. Later, Marlon overheard Rhona telling her mother, Mary, about Graham's declaration, and in a fit of anger, he threatened to kill him. Viewers are now convinced that Rhona may once again be drawn toward Graham, potentially running away with him and shattering her marriage to Marlon. On Facebook, one passionate fan urged, "Rhona, grab the kids and go with Graham. Sorry, Marlon, but you're so dull." Meanwhile, speculation is spreading across X, with one user predicting, "I've got a feeling Graham and Rhona will reunite #Emmerdale," while another commented, "Come on, Rhona, we all know you still love Graham, #Emmerdale." Another observant viewer wrote, "Oh, Graham's still in love with Rhona, and judging by how flustered she gets around him, just saying Emmerdale." "I honestly think Rhona and Graham will end up having an affair," one person suggested, as someone else echoed the sentiment, adding, "She won't be able to resist him much longer." Emmerdale has revealed what lies ahead for Joe Tate and Dawn Fletcher in their ongoing baby storyline, as one of them received unexpected news, while the other made a bold declaration about their relationship. In Wednesday's episode, 18th of February, Dawn confided in Joe that her period was overdue, hinting that she could be expecting. Joe quickly assumed the outcome and informed Graham Foster that they were going to have a baby, a move that Dawn later reproached him for. She then made it clear that she wasn't sure she wanted to raise a child with Joe, and Thursday's episode, 19th of February, opened with Dawn heading off to work, while Joe struggled to process her hesitation about becoming parents. Later, Joe opened up to Graham, questioning whether Dawn doubted his ability to be a good father. Graham advised him that the only way forward was to have an honest conversation with Dawn. Taking that advice on board, Joe approached Dawn, only to be taken aback when she revealed she wasn't pregnant after all. Although he anticipated feeling relieved, Dawn admitted she was conflicted about her emotions. She described experiencing a sense of loss, even though there had been no pregnancy, suggesting that deep down she might actually want to start a family with Joe. Unsurprisingly, Joe was delighted by this revelation. "Perhaps we should just let things happen naturally and see what the future brings," Dawn suggested, leaving the couple seemingly united about what comes next. With this shift in perspective, could a pregnancy soon follow? While Joe and Dawn appeared to find common ground, Graham's own attempt to express his feelings ended in disaster. When he tried to confess his love to Rhona Goskirk after his time away, she firmly rejected him. Rhona insisted she had moved forward with Marlon Dingle and warned Graham not to interfere in her life any further. Matters escalated when Marlon learned about their encounter and furiously threatened to kill him. Graham could be facing death all over again after professing his love to Rhona in an early streaming release of Emmerdale on ITVX. This article includes spoilers from the February 18th episode, which has not yet been broadcast on ITV1, but is already available to stream online. In the latest installment, Graham Foster was branded a hypocrite by Joe Tate, prompting him to take immediate action in an attempt to prove otherwise. When Graham reappeared at the beginning of the year, his return to the village was largely motivated by a desire to support Rhona Goskirk. Before staging his death, the pair had been planning to leave the village together and start afresh. Graham's decision to come back to the Dales to assist Rhona during the Ray Walters ordeal demonstrated that his feelings for her had never truly faded, despite the years apart. As he began rebuilding his life in the village, Rhona found herself reassuring an increasingly uneasy Marlon Dingle that there was nothing to fear regarding the lingering spark between her and Graham. Although Marlon struggled with insecurity, Rhona reminded herself of the countless obstacles she and Marlon had overcome together, recognizing that their shared history outweighed the pull of a man she once nearly ran away with. In today's episode, Graham attempted to edge closer to Rhona by signing with Leo using Makaton. Vanessa Woodfield questioned whether it would really be harmful for Graham to spend time with Leo, given his impressive signing skills, but both Rhona and Mary Goskirk felt it was unwise. Meanwhile, at Home Farm, Graham listened as Joe wrestled with the idea that Dawn Taylor might not want to start a family with him. Graham encouraged Joe to open up about his emotions, only for Joe to snap back, accusing him of being the most emotionally guarded man he had ever known. Determined not to let Joe have the last word, Graham marched into the village and, rather boldly, let himself into Smithy Cottage. Carrying a football he claimed to have found outside, supposedly belonging to Leo, Graham soon revealed his true motive and confessed that he still believed he was in love with Rhona. Rhona firmly stated that she had no desire to rekindle their relationship. While the rejection clearly stung, it is understandable given that Graham once faked his own death and kept the truth hidden for 6 long years. As the episode neared its end, Rhona informed Mary that Graham had declared his enduring love for her. Unfortunately, the timing could not have been worse, as Marlon walked in at that very moment. Furious upon hearing the revelation, Marlon erupted and vowed to kill Graham. It raises the question of whether he needs to rethink how he handles the troublesome figures in his life. First Ray, now Graham. Do we really need yet another fatal showdown in the village? Was this simply an empty outburst? Or is Marlon on the brink of making a devastating, irreversible choice? Emmerdale's Paddy Kirk reaches breaking point as the ordeal surrounding him and his father spirals even further out of control. Paddy is pushing himself to the limit in a desperate attempt to shield Bear Wolf, yet he cannot be everywhere at once. Protecting Bear from the harsh consequences of his actions has effectively become a round-the-clock responsibility for the village vet. Bear remains deeply shaken after surviving a human trafficking operation and later unintentionally killing his captor, Ray Walters. For weeks, Paddy struggled to stop his father from confessing his involvement in Ray's death. Supporting his dad has been Paddy's main focus, even standing up to Kane Dingle when Kane attempted to extract the truth from the vulnerable older man in order to protect his wife, Moira Dingle. Paddy firmly refused to let Bear be pressured. In the end, those efforts proved futile. Overwhelmed by guilt and sorrow, Bear eventually disclosed the truth to D.S. Walsh. Though not the entire story, he withheld details about the roles Paddy and Dylan Penders played in disposing of the body. With Ray's funeral approaching, Bear's fragile state is set to face yet another emotional blow. Dylan is also wrestling with complicated feelings tied to Ray's death, while Laurel Thomas finds herself battling her conscience and deciding that Ray deserves at least one mourner present. However, Paddy, Dylan and Mandy take the opposite stance, attempting to conceal the funeral from Bear, fearing it could shatter him. Unfortunately, their plan unravels when Claudette Anderson inadvertently reveals the truth. As a result, Paddy is left dealing with a distressed Bear who insists on attending the burial, and neither Laurel nor Claudette can persuade him otherwise. Paddy only learns about the situation afterwards and must handle the fallout alone. Furious, he lashes out at Laurel, blaming her careless actions for putting Bear in harm's way. His anger seems justified, as Bear later explodes at his son, exposing fresh trauma and hinting at the beginning of another downward spiral. Charlotte Bellamy has suggested that Laurel and Bear share a surprisingly unique bond. She explained that an unexpected connection develops between them, rooted in shared emotional turmoil. In a strange way, Bear harbors conflicted feelings similar to Laurel's, a mix of pain and attachment, as Laurel loved Ray, and Bear, oddly enough, did too in his own complicated manner. Yet Bear's mental state continues to deteriorate rapidly. After being denied the pain medication he sought from Manpreet Sharma, he heads to hospital with an injured hand, determined to secure relief. Given his unstable condition, the situation quickly descends into disorder. Though not intentionally malicious, Bear becomes increasingly unpredictable, leaving the question of who might suffer as his mental health worsens. Emmerdale airs on weeknights at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and is also available to stream on ITVX.